I have 3 half-sisters and 1 younger sister. Every month, they either give me 10 trillion in allowance, or they give me their 200.0 Walker villas. I used to think their care for me was just familial affection, but when I became an adult, they started acting strange. My eldest sister, Si-young, every day, would sneak into my bedroom late at night. My second sister, Liu Ryan, every morning would invite me to drink milk. My third sister, Li Xier, would pin me against the wall and kiss me passionately every day. My younger sister, Shen Yechu, would cling to me every day and call me hubby. I had planned to just live like this, but whenever they had time, they would ask for hugs, kisses, giving me no personal space at all, and all this good life. And just because I sent 3 dog head emojis, I was walking home when I saw a young girl singing and dancing on the bridge, rapping and playing basketball. As a 5-star citizen, I was about to play the hero and save the beauty, who knew my foot would go numb, and we both fell into the river. When I woke up again, I saw a young girl with a bright red slap mark on my right cheek. Sucking on the scent in my mouth, she was a reborn person. She didn't expect that as soon as she was reborn, she would be accidentally pushed into the river by her own husband, while I was drowning with a numb foot. She saved me, and I accidentally slapped her. I pushed the person in front of me away in pain, but it was no use. As if to avenge the slap, the other party sucked on the scent in my mouth even harder. This time, it really almost brought tears to my eyes. After a retaliatory punishment, Li Xier finally loosened her jaw and let go of me. To be honest, this 18-year-old husband's taste is really different. In my past life, I loved to smoke. When we were spitting at each other, he could always smell the faint scent of cigarettes. He didn't really care about that. What he cared about was that I had lung cancer. The way I lay in the hospital bed in pain, his heart ached. Now that he was reborn, he would never let me get addicted to that damn smoking. If I dared to take another puff in front of him, he would break all 3 of my legs. I looked embarrassed. My big eyes didn't know where to look. The other party was already dressed skimpily, just a black lace nightgown. After what had just happened, I had accidentally seen what I should and shouldn't have seen. I took off my black t-shirt and handed it to her. Li Xier looked at the t-shirt handed to her, and my shy face, Li Xier didn't refuse. After taking my clothes, she quickly put it on, hearing the rustling sound of her getting dressed. My face flushed. I waited until she was dressed before turning my head away in embarrassment. I was trying to save you just now, but I didn't expect. Thank you so much. I was just trying to save you, but I didn't expect. Thank you so much. Li Xier gritted her teeth and said, I was just standing up there to take a look. I didn't want to jump into the river. Hearing this, I buried my head even lower, but then I thought about it. What normal person would stand on the guardrail in the middle of the night to admire the scenery? How about this? My house is right next door. If you don't mind, you can come to my house later, and I'll get you a set of clean clothes. As soon as I finished speaking, Li Xier readily replied, okay, let's go then. Her straightforward answer left me speechless. Don't you need to think about it? You're going to a strange man's house. Seeing that I was still standing there in a daze, Li Xier reminded me, what are you doing? Hurry up. It's really uncomfortable to be drenched. I need to change into some clean clothes. My house is only 100 or 200 meters away from here. Li Xier and I, one shirtless and one barefoot, rushed towards my house. Li Xier pondered the current situation. Now that she was reborn, she had to make some changes. For example, help me fulfill some of my regrets from my past life. My biggest regret in my past life was not being able to find my missing father and my college sweetheart. But that sweetheart was materialistic and broke up with me as soon as she graduated. Now that she was reborn, Li Xier wouldn't let these things happen. She would not only be his Cinnabirmal, but also his white moonlight. The only ones who truly caught her eye were my 2 sisters. As for my younger sister, a 5-year-old child, she could be easily distracted with a lollipop. She wasn't even within her consideration. Why don't you wear my shoes? There's a lot of gravel on the road. I hesitated for a moment before speaking. Li Xier tilted her head, her watery eyes fixed on me. What about you? If you give me your shoes, I'm fine. I'm a big guy. I'm not afraid of a little pain. I shrug, pretending to be relaxed. How about this? You can just ride on my back. It's too dark to see clearly. It wouldn't be good if you hurt your feet, Li Xie suggested. Alright? Since she didn't mind, I wouldn't lose out either. Without thinking too much, I squatted down cooperatively. Li Xie's lips curled up slightly. She naturally leaned against my back. I looked down at the road. Each step I took was extremely difficult. The feeling on my hands and back, and the pair of slender, snow-white arms around my neck, hugging me tightly. Isn't this a bit too much? I'm still a baby who's only 216 months old. How can I handle this? Noticing my labored steps, she asked, what's wrong? Am I too heavy? No, I'm fine. I forced a smile. Li Xier tilted her head, not understanding. But when we got home, and I bent over and rushed to the bathroom, she seemed to understand instantly. Here, put on these slippers. I held a pair of black slippers and walked up to Li Xier. Put on your shoes and come with me to the second floor. I'll go find you one of my sister's clothes. I led Li Xier into a bedroom. The room was decorated in a minimalist style, with walnut furniture and pure white walls. It was hard to tell whether the owner of this room was male or female, but Li Xie had done a lot of naughty things with me in this room in her past life. So she knew that this room was clearly mine. As for why I lied, I had to tell my tragic story. Here, see if this dress fits. I took out a white floral dress from a drawer. You can change here. I'll wait outside. The hairdryer is in the bathroom. You can go blow dry your hair later. With that, I walked out of the bedroom. Li Xie looked at the clothes on the bed, a smile playing on her lips. Li Xier kicked off her slippers and tiptoed across the floor. When she reached my bed, she fell straight onto it. The sheets carried a faint scent of fresh lemon, a scent she could never get enough of in her past life. To be reborn and meet her 18-year-old husband again. It's so good. Li Xier suddenly laughed. This time, besides helping her husband eliminate his regrets, she also had to mold her future husband into the way she liked. That's right, Xian. Li Xier's heart screamed. After blow-drying her hair, Li Xier returned to the living room and saw me eating a bucket of pickled pepper instant noodles. Gulp, gulp, an awkward sound rang out. A few minutes later, at the dining table in the living room, Li Xie and I sat side by side, slurping down our instant noodles one bite after another. By the time we finished eating, it was already 11 p.m. Although she really wanted to stay the night, it was obviously not the right time. Right now, our relationship wasn't that of husband and wife. We weren't even considered friends. I silently cleared the trash from the table, using the corner of my eye to steal a glance at the woman in front of me. Such a beautiful woman. I guess I won't see her again. Let's add each other on WeChat. I was taken aback by the sudden advice. What do you want? Add you on WeChat, so I can return these clothes to you. After seeing Li Xie off, I received a call from my second sister, Li Ryan. Sis, what's up? Nothing much. Just wanted to ask how you've been. I'm going somewhere with a friend tomorrow. For the next month, I might not be able to call you. I'm doing alright. You just take care of yourself over there. Ever since Li Ryan went abroad to study, she would call me every other day. I was used to it by now, and I could understand why my sister was like this. Going abroad to study alone, the loneliness must be unbearable. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ocean, Li Ryan was sitting like a big shot among a group of white and black people. Okay, when sis is done, I'll give you a big surprise when I get back for National Day, Li Ryan said with a smile. Her little brother was the best in the world. She had to hurry up and make money. At the same time, while I was taking a shower, a black SUV stopped at the intersection. A tall figure got out of the car and led a little girl towards my house. I had just returned to the living room after taking a shower. When my phone rang again, I just assumed it was Li Ryan calling again and pressed the side button to answer. Hey, sis, it's not. Tell me, did you secretly install cameras in my house? How come you called as soon as I finished showering? There was silence on the other end of the line for a moment. Then, maybe it's a coincidence. And like Liu Ryan's warm, mature voice, this voice was like a cold wind in winter, devoid of any warmth. I instantly realized something was wrong and stammered, sorry, sister, wrong you. I thought it was my sister calling. I didn't expect it to be you. It's okay, Yecha wants to see you. We're downstairs at your place right now. Surprised, I walked to the second floor balcony and looked down. Sure enough, I saw two figures, one tall and one small, in the distance. I'll be right down, I said into the phone, and quickly walked downstairs. Sis, brother, why aren't you down yet? Shen Yechu hugged her teddy bear tightly. I'm coming down now, Shen Yechu yawned. At her age, she usually went to bed around 7 or 8. But tonight was different. She had just fallen asleep when she had a nightmare. She dreamed that a big bear woman had taken her brother away. Her brother was hers. She wanted to be with her brother forever. Sister Rong Yu, I'll open the door. I greeted her politely, unlike Liu Ryan, whom I grew up with. Si Rong Yu and I were only siblings in name. We barely spoke on a daily basis, only exchanging pleasantries during holidays. Shen Yechu walked up and hugged me, calling out sweetly, brother, what brings you here so late? I rubbed her little head. Shen Yechu had big eyes that curved into crescents when she smiled. She was so cute. Brother, can I sleep with you tonight? Shen Yechu hugged my leg tightly. Having just taken a shower, my entire body emitted a refreshing lemon scent. Shen Yechu loved this scent on me. Every time, she would snuggle up to me and smell it for a long time. He had a nightmare. He insisted on you coming to coax him to sleep. Si Rong Yu explained. Yechu, do you want to sleep with brother tonight? I squatted down and asked. Yes. Shen Yechu nodded her head repeatedly. She nodded her head. She loved sleeping with her brother the most. She always slept soundly and dreamed of delicious food and fun things. Fun things too. Then I'll go upstairs and tidy up the room. Sister Rong Yu, do you want to sleep here tonight too? Yes. Si Rong Yu nodded after she answered. I turned to go upstairs and tidy up. This was the first time the two sisters were staying over. As soon as I turned around, I heard a soft voice beside me. Sis, do you want to sleep with us? I almost tripped and fell. I paused, turned my head, and glanced at Si Rong Yu's expression. It was still as cold as ever, like a tranquil and moved noon. Yechu, that won't do. Sister needs to sleep in a separate room. Why not? Shen Yechu's eyes widened, confused. I patiently explained, men and women shouldn't be too close. Although Sister Rong Yu and I are family, we still need to maintain a proper distance. I scratched Shen Yechu's nose. Si Rong Yu's eyes stared at me for a moment, but she didn't say anything. Shen Yechu tilted her head, her little head full of questions. But brother and I are family too. Why can we sleep together? Because you're still young, Shen Yechu frowned. Then does that mean I can't sleep with brother when I grow up? Of course not. Why? I don't want that. I want to sleep with brother forever. I want to sleep with brother forever. I want to sleep with brother forever. I didn't take her childish words to heart. When Yechu grows up, it won't be brother who sleeps with you, but your boyfriend or husband. What's a boyfriend or husband? Someone who will always be by your side. You'll understand when you grow up. Then can brother be my boyfriend and husband? I want brother to always be by my side. No. Brother is brother. Husband is husband. You can't mix them up. Isn't that incest? I'm not in one of those weird anims. Why? Shen Yechu still didn't understand. Because we're family. Why? Maybe every child's head is filled with 10,000 whys. Si Rong Yu, who had been listening silently, interjected. No, why? Shen Yechu was still a child. She didn't quite understand, and she didn't care. She just wanted me to be with her forever. All right, let's go upstairs. It was the middle of the night. I pulled Shen Yechu upstairs. If I let Shen Yechu keep asking, we'd probably be up all night. I planned to let Si Rong Yu sleep in her own room. Well, Shen Yechu and I would sleep in Liu Ryan's room. There was no other way. Liu Ryan hated it when other people touched her things. After tidying up the room, I realized we only had 2 pairs of slippers. Fortunately, Shen Yechu had come wearing slippers. I took Liu Ryan's pink slippers and went to Si Rong Yu. After putting down the slippers, I asked, Rongyu, do you want to take a shower? I need to use your slippers and your towel. Zi Rongyu directly ignored the pink slippers on the floor. She didn't need to think twice to know whose they were. The one she was envious of, her nominal younger sister. Sister Rongyu, my slippers are still wet. Liu Ryan doesn't like me using her things. And I don't want to use hers either. Her words made me fall silent. Although my two sisters were family, their relationship was terrible. After pondering for a moment, I put on Liu Ryan's slippers and handed mine to Zi Rongyu. Shen Yechu was already nodding off. It was almost 12 o'clock, which was very late for a child. Sister Rongyu, I'll take Yechu to wash up. Smelling the familiar scent, Shen Yechu's lips curled up slightly. Brother, I already took a bath at home. Let's go to bed. Zi Rongyu and I exchanged glances and walked into the room. Liu Ryan's room was very girly, decorated entirely in pink. Shen Yechu lifted the blanket and patted the bed beside her. Brother, come over here, she said in a childish voice. As soon as I lay down, Shen Yechu snuggled closer to me. Her little hands tightly hugged my right arm. In the other room, Zi Rongyu returned to my room after taking a shower. Before she could sit down on the bed, she noticed a few strands of black hair on the cream-colored blanket with cartoon bears. They lay there quietly. Zi Rongyu picked up the hair on the bed and after examining it carefully, threw it into the trash can by the bed. Zi Rongyu's eyes scanned the room. She was probably the first girl, besides Liu Ryan, to enter this room. She was really envious of Liu Ryan. The way I treated her was completely different from the way I treated Liu Ryan, but she also understood that a large part of it was her own fault. When we first met, seeing her face, which resembled her stepmother's by 7 points, all she felt was disgust. This feeling lasted for a year, until the summer of the following year. After experiencing that kidnapping together, she realized how wrong she had been for the first time in her life. She felt the warmth of family not from her father, but from this younger brother. At that time, I, only 13 years old, stood in front of her, shorter than her, but firmly told the kidnappers, "Don't bully my sister." Although the kidnappers were amused by his words and burst into laughter, even now, she still remembered the feeling of warmth that surged through her heart at that moment. Lying on the bed filled with my scent, Zi Rongyu also wanted to be like Liu Ryan, calling me intimately and hearing me casually call her sister. Zi Rongyu took a deep breath of the scent on the blanket. She actually wanted to hold me in her arms and smell the reassuring lemon scent. Every time she saw Liu Ryan's WeChat moments, filled with intimate photos of us, she was envious. The night passed uneventfully. The next day, a red sports car pulled up. Li Xier got out of the car, holding a bag of freshly bought breakfast in her right hand, and a shopping bag in her left hand. Inside the bag were the clothes I had lent her the other day. Li Xier glanced at her watch and muttered to herself, "At this hour, the little sleepyhead should be awake, right?" Zi Rongyu was a light sleeper. She was a light sleeper. The slightest noise at night would wake her up, but this time, she slept soundly. After waking up, she opened the bedroom door and went to the living room. She glanced at the closed door across from her. There was no movement from inside. From the stairs came the crisp sound of high heels clicking against the floor. Zi Rongyu's attention was instantly drawn. Liu Ryan, her eyes narrowed. If it was that woman, there was bound to be another argument. Li Xia knocked on the second-floor bedroom door. When she saw the woman who opened the door, she was stunned. Zi Rongyu, why are you here? Miss, why are you here? Zi Rongyu was confused. This woman was her student, although she was only 21 years old. Her IQ was higher than all the master's students under her. Li Xier came back to her senses. Professor Zi, I'm here to return the clothes. What clothes? There was an accident yesterday. Li Xier briefly explained what had happened. Excuse me, Professor Zi, may I ask what your relationship with him is? Li Xier silently observed Zi Rongyu's expression. In her past life, when Zi Rongyu found out that she was with me, she had flipped out, even though she was Zi Rongyu's favorite student. In Zi Rongyu's heart, she probably couldn't even compare to a single hair on my head. She waited for Zi Rongyu's calm reply. Professor, you slept with him last night. Li Xier saw that my bedroom door was open, and the slippers on Zi Rongyu's feet. She was puzzled. Zi Rongyu and Zhang Qian's relationship shouldn't be that close yet, right? As far as she knew, Zi Rongyu was a very proud person. She clearly cared about Zhang Qian, but she wouldn't admit it. And she was afraid of Zhang Qian finding out. Zi Rongyu didn't answer. Instead, she asked, "What's that in your hand?" "Breakfast. I bought it for my brother." She narrowed her eyes, scrutinizing her star student. If she dared to have any other ideas, then she could find another student. She only had one brother. "I bought it on the way." Li Xier was about to make another excuse when the bedroom door opened. Shen Yuchi ran out first, looking extremely happy. She was even skipping. I followed closely behind and saw the two women standing at the door, facing each other. "Li Xier, you're here?" "Yeah, I'm here to return the clothes." "I'm here to return the clothes." Li Xier raised the clothes in her hand. Zi Rongyu frowned slightly and stepped in front of them, blocking their view. "Give me the clothes." Li Xier smiled politely. Zi Rongyu was still the same, as if she was afraid of Zhang Qian encountering a bad woman. But it was better than Liu Ryan. If Liu Ryan saw someone approaching Zhang Qian, she would really be like a cat whose fur had been rubbed the wrong way. Li Xier handed the bag of clothes to Zi Rongyu. Then she took a step forward and looked at me. "I bought breakfast on the way. Want to eat together?" "How can I do that?" After politely declining, I invited Li Xier inside. The breakfast Li Xier bought was only enough for 2 people, so I told them to wait and went to the kitchen to make more breakfast. Shen Yuchi blinked her big eyes curiously. It was the first time she had seen a beautiful woman as pretty as her sister. "Sister, what's your name?" "Li Xier." After introducing herself, Li Xier also looked at this younger sister curiously. Although Shen Yuchi looked cute and innocent now, she would grow up to be a big boob lover. And she was the craziest of the 3. After being rejected by me several times, she had committed suicide by slitting her wrists. Her life had ended at the age of 22. Because of this incident, I had turned to alcohol and cigarettes, which eventually led to my late-stage lung cancer. I often had nightmares about it. Li Xier smiled and stroked the girl's head. "What's your name?" A 5-year-old girl was still very malleable. If she could turn her against me, she should really go and bang her head against a tofu. "Shen Yuchi." The little girl's sweet smile dazzled Li Xier. "Sichu, you're so cute." Li Xier pinched the girl's chubby cheeks. After bustling around in the kitchen for a while, I finally served breakfast. Li Xier looked at the fragrant noodles in her bowl, and then at the plain steamed bun in her hand. "Ziyu, how much do you want? Brother will serve you first." "I want it all." Shen Yuchi was already drooling. I wish I could eat brother's cooking every day. When she grew up, she would definitely live with brother every day. Eat, sleep, and play together. "Let me serve you a bowl first." Amused by her answer. "If it's not enough, brother will serve you a second bowl." After serving Shen Yuchi, I turned to Zi Rongyu. "Sister Rongyu, how much do you want?" "1 bowl." Li Xier suddenly felt that the steamed bun in her hand wasn't so appealing anymore. She had tasted my cooking before. It was even better than the chefs at restaurants. "Miss Li, how much would you like?" I asked politely. "Just 1 bowl is enough." Li Xier sighed regretfully. If she hadn't bought breakfast, she would have had at least 3 bowls. After breakfast, Li Xier wanted to stay and chat with me, but her teacher, Zi Rongyu, was sitting there. Staring at her intently, she couldn't find any opportunity to talk to me in her past life because of her continuous day and night work and irregular eating habits. After a medical checkup, the doctor had told her that it would be difficult for her to conceive. Our shared regret was that we never had children. Although I often comforted her, saying it was okay, Li Xier knew it was her problem. It wasn't just me who had regrets in my past life. She did too, fortunately. God had given her a second chance. This time, she would give me triplets. "Brother, sister, and I are leaving. If you have time, remember to come and play with me." Shen Yuchi waved her little hand reluctantly. "Okay." I patted Shen Yuchi's head. Zi Rongyu ignored them and turned to Li Xier. "Yeah. What about you?" "Okay, I'll take you too." Li Xie understood what she meant. I didn't say anything polite and saw them out. I still had to pack my luggage. I had to report to school today. After seeing Li Xie drive away, Si Rongyu started her car, no matter who it was. As long as it was a member of the opposite sex who appeared around me, she was wary. She hadn't even gotten her hands on her own cabbage yet. Shen Yachu suddenly remembered the question that hadn't been answered last night. Sister, why can't brother be my husband? It's the rules. Your family, people who are blood related can't get married. Si Rongyu answered seriously as she drove. What's blood related and what's marriage? Blood related means ... You'll understand when you grow up. Si Rongyu didn't explain further. This kind of basic common sense would be taught in compulsory education. No matter how much she explained, she doubted that 5-year-old Shen Yachu would understand. Li Xie sneezed twice in a row. She wiped her nose with a tissue. Li Xie checked the time and decided to turn back. When she drove back to the residential complex, Si Rongyu was already gone, and I was walking out with my luggage. Li Xie smiled mischievously, rolled down the window, and honked the horn. Old Zhang Qian, where are you going? Do you need a ride? No. I smiled and waved my hand in refusal. But Li Xie, as if she hadn't heard me, got out of the car and grabbed my luggage. The bus stop is quite far. I'll give you a ride, Miss Li. No need. Really, no need. I can walk. Before I could finish speaking, I was shoved into the passenger seat, saying that I couldn't refuse. I decided to embrace the it smells good law. Hey, you missed it. You missed the bus stop. Miss Li, you drove past it. Li Xie chuckled. You're going to Jincheng University to report, right? I'm going there too. It's on the way. I was puzzled. How did you know I was going to Jincheng University to report? Your WeChat moments. Didn't you post the admission letter from Jincheng University? Didn't you post the admission letter from Jincheng University? I scratched my head, still confused. I only posted the cover of the admission letter. I didn't say when school starts. How did you know Jincheng University's start date? It's simple, because I'm going to work at Jincheng University. Work as a teacher. I was puzzled. We were the same age. But why were we so different? No, as a class assistant. You know, a junior teacher who helps the counselor manage the class. I see. Which class are you the assistant for? I couldn't help but ask out of curiosity. Chinese language and literature, class 1. My lips twitched. This was truly absurd. Absurd to the max. You look so surprised. Don't tell me you're a Chinese language and literature major. Li Xie feigned curiosity, like a recent graduate. In her past life, we had gone to the same university, but we didn't have any contact. When I enrolled, she was already preparing to go abroad as an exchange student. This time, she wanted to stay by my side. Nowhere else. I think so. I forced a smile. Well, Sister Li ... I mean, Teacher Li, that incident a few days ago was really just an accident. Please don't take it to heart. I really wanted to save you, but I slipped. He didn't want to offend the class assistant he had just met, and if he remembered correctly, he had also slapped Li Xie at that time. This university was truly a hellish start. Don't call me Teacher Li. I'm only 3 years older than you. I'm a junior. You can call me Senior Sister Li. Li Xie waved her hand dismissively. And don't worry about what happened a few days ago. I don't mind. But her relaxed, smiling attitude seemed a bit creepy to me. No, that won't do. I was scared. I was afraid that this counselor would give me a hard time in the future before I could say anything else. My phone rang. Hello, Sister Rongyu, what's up? I remember you're starting school today, right? Yes. Why? I'm on my way back to school. I can give you a ride. No need, Sister Rongyu. I already have a ride. He's giving you a ride. Si Rongyu was stunned. In her attempt to prevent Li Xie, she had actually forgotten about Jincheng University's start date. Li Xie's car had good sound insulation. Even though I didn't have the speakerphone on, she could still hear our conversation clearly. If Si Rongyu knew that I was taking her car to school, the expression on her face would be priceless. Li Xie parked the car in the faculty parking lot. As I was about to unbuckle my seatbelt, a pleasant rose fragrance filled my nostrils. Senior Sisterly, what are you doing? Li Xie was leaning against me. Li Xie rolled her watery eyes at me. I'm getting my shoes, she beckoned with her hand. But I still couldn't reach them. Only then did I realize that there was a shopping bag by my feet. Li Xie changed into her high heels, and we both got out of the car. I saw that Li Xie was about to help me with my luggage again. No need, I'll do it myself. I quickly grabbed my luggage. Knowing that she was my class assistant, I felt a surge of respect for her. I didn't dare to have any other thoughts. No, senior sister. I can do it myself, really. Let me take you to register. No need, senior sister. I can go by myself. Why are you so shy? Shy? I'm not shy. Who's shy? Senior Sisterly. My stomach hurts. I need to use the bathroom. When I arrived at the dormitory, my two roommates were already there. The one with the middle part and overalls, who loved playing basketball, was called Chen Ming. He was known as Sleepy. The skinny one, with a strange smile on his face, who looked a bit creepy, was called Zhang Hongbin. Friendship between guys couldn't be built over one meal, then 2 meals. We had lunch at a restaurant off campus. As we walked back to the dormitory, we kept seeing groups of beautiful female students. A young couple walked out of the supermarket in front of us. The girl was holding an umbrella, and the guy was holding a bottle of cold Coke. Baby, are you hot? Want some Coke? I'm not hot. You drink it. Just 1 sip, please, okay? Watching the couple walk away, we all felt a pang of bitterness. Ooh, so cheap. Sharing 1 bottle of Coke, disgusting. I'm envious. What's there to be envious of? Just find one yourself, I shrugged. This public display of affection was truly unexpected. A pleasant voice came from the supermarket. Our attention immediately shifted from the couple to the source of the voice. Li Xie had just bought some toiletries at the supermarket and saw me staring at the couple's retreating figures. At this moment, my two roommates' eyes were about to pop out of their heads. Li Xie's stunning beauty left them speechless. They didn't know where to look. Li Xie chuckled and greeted us. Hey, come here, all of you. I'll treat you to drinks. I was about to politely decline, but my two buddies nodded their heads vigorously. After paying, my two buddies happily took their Cokes and walked out of the supermarket. Li Xie then came up behind me and softly reminded me, drink less Coke in the future. It's not good for your health. I turned around, confused as to why she would say that, but before I could ask, Li Xie walked out of the supermarket. Back in the dormitory, our last roommate arrived. His name was Jisha too, and he looked quite mature. He wore rimless glasses and carried a thermos. In the evening, we had a meeting in the classroom. Our entire dormitory was a bit late. We arrived just in time, because my two roommates had styled their hair in a very flamboyant way. One had a middle part, and the other had a side part. One looked like a gangster, and the other looked like a traitor. We arrived at the classroom and chose the seat near the back. In front of me was a girl with blonde hair. Are you Jiachi from class 1, senior year 3 at No. 1 high school? Yes, I am. Are you? I didn't expect to see you here. We went to the same high school. I was in class 3. My name is Lin Yi. What a coincidence. I didn't expect to see you here. Lin Yi was surprised to see me. He was the school heartthrob back then. Not only did girls drool over him, but he had even turned a few guys gay. At this moment, Li Xie entered the classroom and saw this scene that made her eyes twitch. That damn blonde girl. In her past life, it was this blonde girl who had dated Zhang Qian for 3 years in college and then dumped him after graduation. Hello, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Li Xie. I'm your class assistant. You can call me Senior Sisterly. Then came the self-introductions from the students. After that, Li Xie explained the precautions for military training. Throughout the class meeting, the blonde girl kept talking to me. Lin Yi was very funny and witty. I was amused by her jokes. Zhang Hongbin and Chen Ming exchanged glances and smiled like proud fathers. Li Xie, standing on the podium, could see everything clearly. On the surface, she appeared calm, but inside, she was already scheming. I received a VIP message I picked up my phone and saw that it was from Li Xier. Student Zhang, after class, could you please come to my office? Senior Sisterly, what's wrong? It's nothing serious. I just need you to help me with something small. After the class meeting, I made an excuse and parted ways with my roommates. Senior sister, what do you need help with? I asked curiously. Help me move some things. She led me to her office, and I randomly picked up 2 stacks of documents. We then headed towards the faculty apartment. I silently followed behind Li Xie. Li Xier was thinking about how to seduce me. In her past life, she was the one who had pursued me. This time, she wanted me to be the one to chase her. As the saying goes, the best hunters often appear as prey. After walking for about 10 minutes, we arrived at the faculty apartment. I put down the documents and was about to leave. Don't leave yet. Have a seat. Li Xie took a bottle of mineral water from the refrigerator and handed it to me. She then pulled me to the sofa and we sat down. Actually, I have something else I need your help with. Something else? I took the water and sat down properly on the sofa. You're the only guy I'm familiar with. If there's anything going on with the guys in the future, I need someone I can trust. I nodded. It didn't sound like a difficult task. Okay, as long as you agree. Wait a minute. Li Xie stood up and walked over to the documents she had just brought in. She rummaged through them. A few minutes later, Li Xier took out something from the pile of documents. As she was walking back to the sofa, she twisted her ankle and fell. Before I could react, she pinned me down on the sofa. It reminded me of the time Li Xier had given me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. My face flushed instantly. Li Xie pretended to be in pain. Ouch, I'm so sorry. I accidentally twisted my ankle. I'm so sorry. Junior. Li Xier quickly pushed herself up and sat up. She had deliberately maintained this distance. She wanted this ambiguous closeness. She wanted to keep teasing me. It's okay, senior sister. Get up. I blushed. Okay. Li Xier knew when to stop. She limped to the other side of the sofa. After I sat up, I immediately turned my head away. I didn't need a mirror to know that my face must be bright red. Student Zhang, could you get me some medicinal alcohol? It's in the drawer over there, Li Xier said pitifully. I immediately followed her finger and walked over. I opened the drawer and rummaged through it. While I was facing away, Li Xie reached out and pinched my thigh hard. This time, it really brought tears to my eyes. I walked back with a bottle of safflower oil. Li Xier had tears in her eyes. Junior Zhang, can you do me a favor? I'm a bit afraid of pain. Don't open the wound. Can you apply the medicine for me? I gulped. I couldn't resist Li Xie's request. When she was like this, okay, I squatted down and carefully took off Li Xie's flats and socks. But what I found strange was that her fair feet didn't look like they had any wounds. Not even a wound, let alone any redness or swelling. Watching me carefully apply the medicine, Li Xier suddenly wanted to stick her foot in my mouth. She had done this kind of thing before. As the saying goes, the more you love, the more perverted you become. The more perverted you become, the sweeter it is. The closer you are, the longer it lasts. Slow down. Can't scare my young husband. I applied the medicine carefully and gently. I was afraid of hurting her. Li Xie was very satisfied with my serious attitude, but she still maintained her calm and composed demeanor. Okay, senior sister, this should be enough. I had not only applied the medicine, but also thoughtfully bandaged her ankle. Thank you, Junior. Senior sisterly, if there's nothing else, I'll be going now. The next day at 8 a.m. On the sports field, the freshmen were wearing uniform military green camouflage uniforms. The counselors of each class stood to the left of their respective classes. Li Xier was the most eye-catching presence on the entire field. I was standing next to Li Xie. To be precise, Li Xie was standing next to me. With my height, I should have been standing in the middle rows. But Li Xie insisted that I stand in the front row. Senior sister, are you really okay? I asked softly. Much better. When the class gathered just now, I saw that Lin Yi was standing next to you. Although Lin Yi didn't pose much of a threat to her, that was her husband. I glanced at Li Xier from the corner of my eye. Li Xier's side profile was even more beautiful than her front profile. I stole a glance, then another, then another. Looks good, Li Xie asked softly. I pretended to be clueless. My heart started to race. She had noticed. I thought I had been pretty discreet. Li Xie turned to look at me, then at the others around us. In the end, she didn't say anything, she just gave me a charming smile. There were only 2 people in this class that she needed to pay attention to. Jiang Qian and everyone else. Military training officially began. The morning sun was scorching. The instructors were afraid that the current college students would have health problems. After all, the current college students were as fragile as paper. Junior high was the peak of physical strength. High school was the peak of intelligence. And college was all about eating and playing video games. By the end of the first day, unlike the previous day's boisterous dormitory, the 4 of us were lying in our beds, not wanting to say a word. The first week of military training passed quickly. That afternoon, when Li Xie appeared with 2 large bags of watermelon, the entire Chinese language and literature class 1 cheered excitedly. Li Xie had been spoiling them with treats all week. Watermelon, drinks, popsicles, ice cream. The other classes were green with envy. Not only was their class assistant beautiful, but she was also so nice to them. And then they looked at their own class assistants, who only knew how to bark orders. It was true that comparison was the thief of joy. Attention, everyone, listen to my command. Instructor Li blew her whistle and instructed the boys and girls in the class to sit facing each other. Now, Teacher Li has brought you watermelon. Do you want to eat it? Yes, a chorus of voices rang out. Some of the boys even shouted at the top of their lungs. Li Xie watched silently, but her phone camera, which seemed to be scanning the class, was actually pointed at me the whole time. Soon, the sliced watermelon was placed in front of the boys and girls. Next, I'll blow the whistle. Whoever grabs a slice of watermelon first gets to eat it. As soon as the whistle blew, the boys and girls started competing for speed. Some of the boys showed their gentlemanly side by letting the girls have the watermelon. I looked at the girl sitting opposite me. She was wearing black-rimmed glasses and looked delicate. I pushed the slice of watermelon in the middle towards her. Here, you eat it. No. You eat it, Jiang Qian. I don't want it. Li Wenwen pushed the watermelon back. This past week, I've become famous in all the girls' dormitories. I'm practically the 2nd most handsome guy in the world. You ask me who's the most handsome? Come on, open your camera and see for yourself. Lin Yi was sitting next to Li Wenwen. Seeing this, she handed me her watermelon. When you eat it, Jiang Qian, you can have mine. As soon as she finished speaking, the boy sitting opposite Lin Yi looked awkward. That watermelon seemed to be the one he had just given to Lin Yi. He suddenly felt like a clown. Li Xie, who had been silently recording this beautiful moment with her phone, couldn't sit still any longer. She stood up and walked over to me, handing me the rest of her watermelon. I still have some. If it's not enough, you can have more. Thank you, senior sister. I took a slice of watermelon from the bag. After finishing one slice, I felt like I wanted more. Maybe it was because we were in the middle of military training, but the watermelon tasted much better than usual. Or maybe it was because the way I smacked my lips was too obvious. Lin Yi saw everything. Jiang Qian, I haven't eaten mine yet. Do you want to eat it? The boy opposite me swore that if there was a next time, he would never give up his watermelon again. No, you eat it, I can't take it. After all, the guy next to her was giving me a death glare. Li Xie glanced at her watch. It was only 3:30 p.m. There was still a long time before afternoon training ended. Jiang Qian, come with me to the office. The other students, who were baking under the sun, looked at me enviously as I left. Especially the boys. I followed Li Xie to an office. There was a small, round watermelon on the desk. Are your hands big enough? Li Xie turned around and asked, they're all right? A man can't say he's not capable. Then split this open for me. Li Xie pointed at the watermelon on the desk. Senior sister, you called me here just for this. I glanced at the watermelon on the desk. If it were the big watermelon we had just eaten, it might have been a challenge. But this small one. It would be a piece of cake. Sure, have a seat. This half is for you, here's a spoon. Li Xier took out a disposable spoon from her pocket and handed it to me. Over the past few days, Li Xier and I had become quite close. I finally realized how important it was to have a good relationship with your class assistant. I had eaten a lot of ice cream and popsicles this week because Li Xier always accidentally bought too many, and the extras all ended up in my stomach when school first started. I was still a bit awkward around Li Xier, but now I just wanted to sigh in contentment. What a wonderful class assistant. I'd take a dozen of her, please. Evening training was much easier than daytime training. After a short while, the instructors would let the students sit down and start a singing competition with the other classes. Instructor Li's face fell. Is there no one in our class who can dance? I had a bad feeling about this because the person next to me was getting restless. Wait a minute. As expected, I heard a sharp voice beside me. After spending a week together, I knew what my roommate was like. She had no talent whatsoever. Except for being able to dance a bit of chicken dance. Could it be ... Chen Ming slowly stood up, saying in a dramatic tone, "So it's time for me, the Azure Wolf, to take the stage. I was dumbfounded. My roommate's personality was a bit complicated. Instructor Li's eyes lit up. The student's confidence suggested that he must have some skills. Old Chen, are you in the team? Jiang Hongbin, who was on the other side, also stood up and looked at Chen Ming. Seeming to understand something, Chen Ming looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle. Looking slightly melancholic, Old Jiang, wanna join me? As Chen Ming walked over to the sound system to adjust the music, Li Xier happened to walk over to our class. As soon as he finished speaking, the BGM started playing. As soon as the intro started, the entire sports field's attention was drawn. Because you're too beautiful. Those two lines captivated everyone on the field. Chen Ming stood in the spotlight, holding the microphone and swaying his hips as he danced. I'll melt if I get any closer. Take you. The Chinese Language and Literature Class 1. Students were stunned. Instructor Li was also speechless. Amazing. Li Xier clapped her hands. This young man is really something. Seeing their class assistant leading the applause, the Chinese Language and Literature Class 1 students had no choice but to laugh and clap along. Chen Ming struck a cool finishing pose, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and picked up the microphone. After the students' performance, they shouted for the instructor to come on stage and perform a set of military boxing. Li Xier, who performed flawlessly, attracted the attention of the class opposite us. They clamored for their class assistant to come on stage and show off her talent. Li Xier was naturally uninhibited. She confidently walked to the center of the stage. I'm looking for someone to sing a duet with me. Anyone willing? As expected, the unexpected happened. Senior Sisterly, Zhang Qian wants to sing with you. He said he's a great singer. Chen Ming even raised my hand high. Okay, then let's have student Zhang come up. Li Xier smiled. Good, very good. This student is very enthusiastic. I should consider giving him some special treatment later. Senior sister, I can't sing with my tone-deaf voice. Going up on stage would be a complete embarrassment. It's okay, I'll guide you. No one will notice. Maybe I should just go back down. I looked around. Hundreds of eyes were staring at me. My legs were shaking. Relax, Li Xier said softly. She found my timidity amusing. I've already chosen the song. You're not allowed to run away. As soon as she finished speaking, a melodious song started playing from the speakers. As soon as the intro started, I froze. The song my parents used to love the most. They played it and sang it to me countless times when I was little. While I was still in a daze, Li Xier had already taken the microphone and started singing in her clear voice. After 2 lines, I fell silent. The audience on both sides also fell silent. Her singing seemed a bit off-key. After singing 2 lines, Li Xier held the microphone to my mouth. Why did she go on stage? And why did she choose this song? Of course, it was because this song was my favorite. In my past life, I would always order this song at karaoke. And I also sang it at our wedding. After the song ended, the audience from both classes gave us warm applause. Senior sister. Can I ask why you chose this song? I asked curiously. Li Xia's eyes were a bit moist. She blinked back her tears and looked up at me with a smile, because I like it, as she was singing. She had recalled many memories from the past. At the end of those memories was an old man on his deathbed, stroking her face and saying, "Don't be afraid. Your wife will become an angel and watch over you." I like this song too, I said in surprise. What a coincidence, Li Xia smiled. After the last song, the evening training came to an end. Those who were supposed to go back to their dormitories went back to their dormitories. Those who were supposed to go on dates went on dates. And those who were supposed to go to the woods went to the woods. Yujing Bay, a villa complex within the third ring road of Jincheng. Sister, what's wrong? I saw brother and Anne singing with that woman. What woman? What singing? Look, sister. Shen Yuchi placed her phone on the desk. Zirong Yu frowned and picked up her phone. The screen displayed the Jincheng University forum. Although the video quality was a bit blurry, Zirong Yu immediately recognized that it was her star student, Li Xia, and her brother, Zhang Qian. Sister, I want to go find brother and Anne. I want to sing with brother too. Yachu, brother Anne is in military training. You can't see him, and you have kindergarten tomorrow. Go to bed now. Zirong Yu picked up Shen Yachu and carried her back to her bedroom. Zirong Yu went downstairs and strode to the garage. She chose a sports car and sped off to Jincheng University. She suddenly recalled that Li Xia had come to her a while ago asking to be a class assistant for the freshmen to gain some experience. She hadn't thought much of it at the time and had agreed. But now she had a feeling that her student was after her brother, Zhang Qian. Zirong Yu strode towards the faculty apartment 301. Li Xia was sitting on the sofa in the living room, playing a mobile game with me. There was a hurried knock on the door. Who is it? Li Xia asked as she continued playing the game and walked towards the door. She looked through the peephole and saw an icy beauty's face staring back at her. Li Xia quickly put away her phone and took a few deep breaths to compose herself. She slowly opened the door, putting on an Oscar-worthy performance. Oh, Professor Z, what brings you here? Zirong Yu narrowed her eyes, scrutinizing Li Xia's beautiful face. She seemed to want to see right through her. Li Xia greeted her warmly. Professor Z, please come in, please come in. Li Xia knew this woman well. She was suspicious but proud. She never doubted her own judgment. She guessed that Zirong Yu must be suspicious of her, suspecting that she had ulterior motives for approaching. Zhang Qian, you told me that you wanted to be a class assistant for the freshmen. Why did you choose Chinese language and literature? Zirong Yu stared intently at Li Xia's micro-expressions. This was her biggest question. If Li Xia had just chosen any random class, she wouldn't have cared. But she had specifically requested Chinese language and literature. This was a bit intriguing because my father was also a Chinese language and literature student. When I went home this summer, my father was seriously ill. He told me many stories about his college life. That's the main reason why I asked Professor to let me be the class assistant for Chinese language and literature. Li Xia continued, half-truthfully. Her father was indeed sick, but it wasn't a serious illness. It was just a common cold. Zirong Yu listened silently. Seemingly lost in thought, Li Xia continued, but Professor Z, I really didn't expect. It's quite a coincidence. Actually, I didn't expect that your brother would be a student in my class. Is it really just a coincidence? Zirong Yu's eyes narrowed. She leaned back against the soft sofa, crossing her long, smooth legs. She crossed her long, smooth legs. She folded her hands on her lap and looked at Li Xia, her gaze becoming less probing. What a coincidence. Zhang Qian and I are really fated. Zirong Yu let out an uncomfortable hem. The rising tone clearly showed her displeasure with something Li Xia had just said. Li Xia wisely shut her mouth. If her previous guess was correct, and Li Xia had deliberately planned all of this, then there would definitely be some flaws in her expression. As someone who had minored in psychology in college, she trusted her judgment. That day, there was a sudden downpour. and the school canceled the afternoon military training. The four of us in the dormitory decided to go out and treat ourselves. Jung Hongbin kept saying that he had a surprise. At the entrance of the hot pot restaurant, Chen Ming and I finally understood what Jung Hongbin's surprise was for girls, all of whom we knew. Our classmates, Lin Yi, Li Wenwen, Zhang Yu, and Lin Wanwan. After dinner, while I was in the bathroom, they had already planned our evening itinerary. Itinerary? What? Drinking? I'm not going. I shook my head in refusal. Old Jung, what are you talking about? Everyone's going. Why aren't you? It's rare to have a day off. Why not enjoy it? Come on, Old Jung. Let's go drinking. Old Jung has already paid the bill. It's rare for this guy to treat us. Don't you want to take advantage of him? I thought about it carefully. We had been training for so long, we were exhausted. It wouldn't hurt to relax a bit. Besides, I was curious about Bar's faculty apartment. Li Xie was lying on the sofa, feeling frustrated. She kept kicking her legs in the air. I waited for you for an hour. And you tell me you're going out to have fun? I'm so angry. Li Xie clenched her fists and punched the sofa cushion repeatedly. But what she didn't expect was that the anger she had just calmed down resurfaced half an hour later. When she opened her WeChat moments, the first thing she saw was Chen Ming's post. The first photo was of them eating hot pot. Although their faces weren't visible, there was a girl's hand in the photo. Zhang Qian was sitting on the left and who was sitting on the right. Although her face wasn't clear, Li Xie immediately recognized her by her distinctive blonde hair. Damn it. That blonde is trying to steal my man. Li Xie jumped off the sofa. She didn't even bother changing her clothes or putting on her slippers. She rushed to the garage. Let's play a game. At the bar, drinking games were a must. At Jung Hongbin's suggestion, we quickly started. Our first game, called Drink When It's Full, we took a glass and each poured some beer into it. The last person to make the glass overflow had to drink it. Lin Yi glanced at me, who was sitting next to her, picked up her beer bottle, and poured it into the glass. As the saying goes, if a woman doesn't get drunk, a man doesn't stand a chance. The same applied if you reverse the genders. Whoa, 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 Lin Yi, you're playing dirty. Lin Wanwan exclaimed. Old Jung, you're doomed. Jung Hongbin looked at me sympathetically. To make the game more exciting, we were using large glasses that held a full liter. It was equivalent to chugging 2 bottles of beer. I picked up my beer bottle and carefully poured 2 drops of beer into the glass. The glass was already full to the brim. Not a single drop more could fit. I gritted my teeth, closed my eyes, and chugged the beer, directly to the 4th round. I couldn't take it anymore. I had already chugged 3 large glasses in a row. I felt like I was being targeted. I stood up dizzily, but then stumbled back down. This happened twice. Old Jung, what are you doing? But I didn't seem to hear her. He probably needs to use the bathroom. He drank so much. I'll take him. Lin Yi stood up and led me to the bathroom, supporting me by the shoulder. Excuse me, miss, is Zhao Yan here? Li Xie simply said 2 words and strode inside. Bathroom. Lin Yi helped me to the men's bathroom. My scent made her heart race. We're here, go ahead. I looked around with my blurry vision, feeling a bit dazed. I didn't seem to understand what she was saying. I just held my head with one hand and leaned against the wall with the other. Seeing my state, Lin Yi raised an eyebrow. Zhang Qian, do you know who I am? I shook my head. She seemed to be mumbling something to me. Lin Yi stared at my handsome face, her heart beating faster. She had dreamed of this moment countless times. Now that I was drunk, she could secretly have a taste. She could pretend that nothing had happened afterwards. Lin Yi gulped and slowly leaned in. The closer she got, the faster her heart beat. The other customers who were passing by were used to this kind of scene. The blonde girl wasn't bad looking, but weren't they playing the wrong roles? Just as Lin Yi was about to succeed, she felt someone behind her grab her collar and pull her back forcefully. She almost fell to the ground. Student Lin, what are you doing? Li Xie's eyes were burning with anger. She had underestimated Lin Yi. Senior sister Li ... Lin Yi frowned. I'm asking you what you were trying to do just now. Li Xie asked sharply. Just now, Lin Yi hesitated. Zhang Qian was drunk and needed to use the bathroom. I brought him here to use the bathroom. Li Xier chuckled and pinned her against the wall. I saw something on his face. I was just helping him take a look. Lin Yi continued to explain. Li Xier took my arm and led me outside. Senior Sisterly, what are you ... Lin Yi blocked our way. I'll take him back to school. Li Xier said calmly. I'll take care of it. Student Lin, do you think that just because I haven't lost my temper at school, you can walk all over me? Li Xier's voice turned cold. Her eyes turned icy. Lin Yi froze, stunned by her glare. Li Shai, you dragged me to her car. I had a low alcohol tolerance. A few bottles of beer could knock me out. Liquor was even worse. 2 sips and I'd be down. At our wedding, I had toasted everyone with plain water. She walked to the other side of the car, opened the door, and was about to drive away when she saw me kicking the car door with my leg. When the door wouldn't open, I stuck my head out the window. Then my entire upper body. Jiang Qian, what are you doing? You want to go back and keep drinking, don't you? I'm telling you, no way. At the mention of alcohol, Li Xier recalled my decadent state. In my past life, she didn't want Jiang Qian to touch alcohol. Or cigarettes. In this life, I need to pee. I can't hold it anymore, huh? Li Xier looked surprised. Didn't you just go? I ignored her words and kept pulling on the car door handle. Okay. Don't worry, I'll take you. Li Xier quickly unbuckled her seatbelt and got out of the car. She opened the passenger door. I had sobered up a bit. I could walk in a straight line now. Li Xier didn't react at first. By the time she did, I was already standing under a poplar tree, getting ready to do my business. But the next moment, my zipper was pulled back up. Li Xier dragged me back to the bar. She quickly pulled me into a bathroom stall. Once inside, I became hesitant. What are you doing? Hurry up, Li Xier said impatiently. Turn around, I'm embarrassed. Embarrassed with me, humph. I know how many moles you have on your butt. I remember them all clearly, Li Xier said exasperatedly. Come on, hurry up, and let me tell you. You're not allowed to drink or smoke anymore, you hear me? Li Xier didn't ask any further questions. She just waited a while longer. Are you done yet? Li Xier sensed something was wrong. She turned around and saw me asleep on the toilet seat. She sighed and helped me up. Outside the stall, my 4 buddies were intently staring at our stall. They wanted to see what was going on. They saw a stunningly beautiful girl helping a seemingly asleep guy out of the stall. Excuse me, my boyfriend is drunk, Li Shai. Ye looked at the 4 guys apologetically. 3 of them were dumbfounded. Damn it, dude, why? From what I saw just now, it seemed like the girl was the one who made the move. I'm going home. If you're not playing, I'm not playing either. This time, when Li Xier helped me into the passenger seat, I was much more obedient. Li Xier suddenly recalled the scene of Lin Yi trying to kiss me in the bar. If she hadn't arrived in time, Lin Yi might have actually kissed me, and who knew what else she might have done. If she had taken advantage of the situation, Li Xier reached out and pinched my chin with her slender fingers. You're not allowed to go out drinking with other girls anymore.
You're late, Li Xier said softly. Forget it. It's no use talking to you in your current state. But I have to punish you a little. The feeling of suffocation returned. Just like when I had fallen into the water. My face turned red from being smothered. My eyes flew open. Who are you? Li Xier rubbed her lips. I'm your wife. Nonsense. I looked at the blurry figure in front of me. She looked familiar, but I couldn't place her. I'm your father. I dare you to say that again. I'm your father. Okay. Li Xier laughed in anger. He's only 18, after all. So bold. Trying to turn the tables, Li Xier moved from the driver's seat to the passenger seat. She pinned my restless hands down. I'll show you who's whose father. I'm your father. I bit her arm hard. Li Xier winced in pain. I didn't let up until I tasted blood. Only then did I let go. But after a while, things didn't go as I had expected. The woman in front of me didn't bite me back. Instead, she opened the car door and got out. All right, let's go back to sleep. Li Xier clutched her arm. I felt like I had lost my memory. I couldn't recall anything. I looked at the woman in front of me, confused. Are you really my wife? Are you really my wife? I looked at Li Xier. She was quite beautiful. Humph, I'm not your wife, Li Xier said sarcastically. Aren't you my father? I scratched my head awkwardly. I was just kidding, Li Xier retorted. Me too. Actually, I don't know you very well. Stay away from me. Come on. I'm sorry, wife. Faculty apartment. I lay comfortably in the soft bed. The blanket smelled of roses. It smelled so good. Li Xier was sitting on the edge of the bed, treating the wound on her arm with rubbing alcohol, cotton swabs, and bandages. Wife, why is our bed so small? It's a bit tight for two people. Because this isn't our home. It's just my dormitory. Dormitory, wife? What do you do? Why can't I remember anything? I'm your teacher. Don't think about it. You won't be able to remember no matter how hard you try. It's your constitution. Li Xier patiently answered all my questions. As she treated her wound, you're my teacher, I was stunned. You mean you're my teacher and my wife? I looked down at my hands in disbelief. At my hands? How long have we been together? Well, we've been together for 60 years. I understood every word she said, but I couldn't understand them together. I started to wonder if my wife was crazy. She was talking nonsense. The next morning, at first, I thought I was dreaming. Then I rubbed my eyes. Then I was shocked. Li Xier's expression didn't change. She just stared at me intently. Senior sisterly ... last night. I felt like my ability to speak had been taken away. I stammered for a long time, but I couldn't form a complete sentence. Li Xier stared at me with amusement, at my flustered state. Don't worry, don't panic. Take your time. My mind was racing. All I could remember was going to the bar with Chen Ming and the others last night and drinking. Then I got drunk and passed out on the sofa. And then ... nothing. But looking at the current situation, I couldn't believe that nothing had happened. But I couldn't remember anything. Forget it. Don't think about it. Nothing happened between us last night, Junior. Then why am I in your bed? Li Xier sighed. It's quite a coincidence. Actually, I ran into you at the bar last night. I was about to go to the bathroom when you grabbed me and begged me to take you away. I refused. But you kept calling me daddy. You even called me daddy. So I had no choice but to bring you back. As for why you're in my bed, I remember telling you to sleep on the sofa. You must have snuck into my room and climbed into my bed while I wasn't looking. As Li Xier was speaking, she noticed the change in my expression from bright red. It quickly turned pale. I was horrified. Called you daddy, and then ... Snuck into my teacher's bed in the middle of the night. Senior sisterly, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I accidentally fell out of bed. It's okay. No need to apologize. Nothing happened between us anyway. Just don't go around telling people. Okay, senior sister, I understand. I wanted to slap myself. And don't drink anymore. You hear me? Yes, yes, yes. I know. I won't drink anymore. After this experience, I felt like I had developed an allergy to alcohol. An allergy. Early in the morning, Si Rongyu dragged her suitcase from home to school. She had left home at 7 a.m. and arrived at the faculty apartment at 7:30. She opened the door and bumped into Li Xier, who was just coming out of the bedroom. Good morning, Si Rongyu greeted her. She had a good impression of Li Xier, but as soon as she finished speaking, Li Xier ran back to the bedroom as if she had seen a ghost. Si Rongyu was stunned. She rarely greeted people first. Inside the room, I was startled. I opened my mouth to ask, but Li Xier quickly rushed over and covered my mouth with her hand. If Si Rongyu found out that I had slept in the same bed as her last night, she would probably disown me as her student. I nodded in understanding ... after she removed her hand. I whispered, "Senior sisterly, what are you doing? Don't talk so loud. Keep your voice down. Your sister Rong Yu is outside." But why is sister Rong Yu outside? She lives in this apartment. Oh, okay. By the way, senior sisterly, can I ask ... What's your relationship with sister Rong Yu? You're my teacher. But knock, knock, knock ... Li Shir and I both froze. Okay, coming, Li Shir answered, and motioned for me to hide under the bed. Zirong Yu. Felt that Li Shir was acting strange today. Professor Z, have you had breakfast yet? I recently discovered a breakfast place that's really good. Get ready, and I'll take you there. She took Zirong Yu's arm and led her outside. I hid under the bed, not daring to move or even breathe too loudly. I didn't come out until I heard the door close. After the two women left, I crawled out from under the bed. I received a WeChat message. Go get breakfast yourself. I'll tell instructor Lee that you can take a day off from training today. Breakfast place ... Li Xia nibbled on a steamed bun. Looking at the cold beauty sitting opposite her, an idea came to her. See Jiasu. It's quite a coincidence. Actually, I was drinking with some friends at the bar last night, and I ran into Zhang Qian and his friends. Zirong Yu frowned. Her hand, which was holding a pair of disposable chopsticks, froze in midair. And then, Li Xia smiled slyly. And then, guess what I saw? I saw your brother, Zhang Qian, drunk, and outside the bathroom. A blonde girl was pinning him against the wall. As soon as she finished speaking, there was a snap. The disposable chopsticks in Zirong Yu's hand broke into. Li Xia's eyelids twitched. Professor Z, don't worry. I happened to see it, so I wouldn't just stand by and do nothing. I immediately stopped that student from behaving inappropriately, and I reprimanded her. She realized her mistake. Hearing the words stopped, Zirong Yu's expression softened a bit. The student in your class? Yes, Professor Z. These freshmen are quite wild. Li Xia spoke in a gossipy tone, making it seem like she wasn't being deliberate, but she was. A blonde girl. Zirong Yu silently noted this physical characteristic. That afternoon, Li Xia walked into the boys' dormitory with a lunchbox in her hand. After knocking on the door, she pushed it open and walked in. I heard the knock on the door and turned around from my game. My eyes met Li Xia's. I immediately threw my phone aside and put my hand on my forehead, pretending to have a headache. Come on, get down here. Is your head still dizzy? Li Xia asked with a smile. I nodded thoughtfully. Still a bit dizzy, but much better. I didn't want to be called down for training right now. I have some hangover soup. Come up and have some. It should make you feel better. Li Xia held up the lunchbox. She opened the lid, and a rich aroma filled the dormitory. Hangover soup. She had made it for me many times in my past life. I knew the taste by heart. This was the first time she had made it for me since I was reborn. Hopefully, it would be the last. Whoa, senior sisterly, your skills are professional. I gave her a thumbs up. I learned it from someone. I nodded. I didn't ask any further questions. You can rest for the afternoon. But remember to be at the sports field for training tonight. Didn't you say I could rest for the whole day? I protested softly. Is your head still dizzy? Yeah, still a bit dizzy. All right, then you can rest for the whole day. But remember to be at the sports field for training tomorrow morning, Li Xia said as she took the lunchbox to the balcony. She decided to wash it there. Senior sisterly, actually, my head is really dizzy. I might still be dizzy when I wake up tomorrow morning. So ... Li Xia didn't answer. She just turned around and stared at me. She stared at me for a long time. I felt a bit creeped out. Senior sisterly, don't mind me. I was just kidding. Military training was coming to an end. We had been rehearsing for the past few days. Finally, Li Xia's piano performance of Love Confession marked the end of the month-long military training. Two messages popped up on my phone screen. Jiang Qian, are you free now? I've run into a bit of trouble. Can you come and help me? I'll reply later. What's wrong? My stomach hurts. And my heel got stuck in a manhole cover. Where are you? By the road near the woods next to the sports field. Li Xia looked down at her feet. Her heel was stuck in the manhole cover, but it didn't seem realistic enough, so she pushed her entire heel into the manhole cover. After that, she looked around Jincheng University woods. Legend had it that every night, you could hear the cries of a female ghost here, and in the dead of night, you could even see faint ghostly figures. Li Xia saw me rushing over. She immediately pinched herself and bent over, clutching her stomach. In pain, senior sister, what's wrong? I had jogged all the way here, and there were beads of sweat on my forehead. Li Xia's beautiful eyebrows were furrowed together. She was biting her lip. I'm fine. You don't look fine. I quickly squatted down. I've seen this expression before, senior sister. On my sister, Liu Ryan, every time Liu Ryan got her period, she would be rolling around in bed in pain. Her heel was stuck fast in the manhole cover. I struggled for a long time before I finally managed to get her shoe out. Junior, can you help me put it on? I don't have the strength. Li Xia bent down and leaned on my shoulder. A few strands of her black hair fell on my face, and I smelled that familiar rose fragrance again. I gulped and slowly put her shoe on. Let's go to the milk tea shop and sit for a while. I'll get you some hot water. Li Xia clutched her stomach and nodded. Okay. Can you hold my hand? I'm a bit weak, senior sister. Don't tug. I'll hold your hand. I took her hand without hesitation. Li Xia looked like she was about to pass out at any moment. Senior sister, have some of this. It should make you feel better. I placed the brown sugar ginger tea in front of Li Xia. Li Xia took a few sips of the brown sugar ginger tea. How should she put it? It tasted awful. Nowhere near as good as Jiang Qian's. She took a few sips of her coconut milk tea. How are you feeling, senior sister? Better. Zikong, can you take me to the infirmary? I'll go get some ibuprofen. Li Xia's beautiful face was now scrunched up in pain. Is your stomach still hurting? Why don't you try rubbing it yourself? My hands are cold, Li Xia whispered. Rub them together like this, I demonstrated. Rubbing my hands together quickly to generate heat. Li Xia frowned and pouted. She hesitantly rubbed her hands together a few times, then cried out in pain. Ouch, no. It hurts too much. Jia, just take me to the infirmary. Senior sister, it's past 8 a.m. The school infirmary is closed. Oh, right, I forgot. Then take me to a pharmacy outside the school. Senior sister. I hesitated, then said, taking medicine isn't good for your health. If you don't mind, I can rub your stomach for you. My sister used to have period cramps at home, and every time I rubbed her stomach, she would feel much better. As soon as I finished speaking, Li Xia lowered her head. I thought she found my suggestion inappropriate. Little did I know that Li Xia was suppressing a huge grin. It was harder to contain than an AK.